dividing. So today we're going to review through the rules for multiplying and dividing of decimal numbers. Whenever you multiply decimal numbers, you do not have to line up the decimals. You'll line up the numbers on the right-hand side and then multiply as normal. In the end, when you have your final digit answer, you'll count the number of decimal spaces in your original factors, and that's how many decimal places should be behind your decimal. So for example, for this problem, I have 30.9 times 0.2. I oftentimes will go ahead and look at this as 309 times 2. Now, you can eliminate zeros, but take note that I did not eliminate the zero that fell between this 3 and 9, and that's because it's in between two non-zero numbers. I could eliminate this 0 because it was not a placeholder. It was just basically holding the place of that there was nothing in the ones place. So now if I go through and I multiply, 2 times 9 is 18, carry the 1. 2 times 0 plus 1 gives me 1, and 2 times 3 is 6. So I just found out that I have 618 for the digit portion of it. I'm now going to go back and look at my original numbers to see where my decimal place should go. So when I look at this, I have two numbers total behind the decimal. So I'm going to go to my answer and I'm going to count from the back 2 places, 1, 2, and place my decimal. So my final answer here would be 6.18. That is something that is a review. What's new today is if we had added maybe a negative to one of these numbers or to both, we would then have to go back and review over those skills of how do I decide if my answer is positive or negative? Well, here we'll count the negatives. So if I had just one negative here in front of the 30.9, that would make my answer a negative answer because there's one negative. If we had 2 negatives, both numbers were negative, 2 negatives make a positive, so then that would make this a positive 6.18. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another one. Okay, and to throw in the rational portion of it, let's make one of these negative, so we'll go ahead and say this one's negative. Okay, so when we go through to look at these two, we're going to go ahead. I like to do whether it's positive, negative right away. So I know in the end my answer is going to be a negative answer because there's one negative sign. And now I'm going to look at this number as 1,292 times this number is 49. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and multiply like normal. 9 times 2 is 18, carry the 1. 9 times 9 is 81 plus 1 is 82. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 8 is 26. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay, now there's a second number, so I have to remember I have to bring down a 0 and work my way across. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 9 is 36. Carry up a 3 this time. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry up a 1 this time. And then 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So I'll go ahead and add these together. 8, 10, carry the 1, 12, 13, carry the 1, 1, 2, 3, and a 6. So I have for this, I have the digits of 63,308. I now have to go back and count how many numbers were behind original decimals. We had 1, 2, 3 numbers. So I need to do the same thing in my answer. So I need to have 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. My decimal is going to go right here. So my final answer is 63.308. And that would be a negative because we said it was going to be a negative answer. Okay, so I want you guys to try this one. So you'll pause your video and you'll work your way through this next one. And let's go ahead and make this negative. And that's it. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video and work your way through this problem. Okay, for this one, you should have ended up when you worked your way through it with a negative 21.3894. And make sure that you're showing your work on these. I didn't go through to show the work because I don't need to take the time to do that. If you didn't get that, you're going to want to check with me to see if you can figure out where you made your mistake. You can check through the work that I have on my sample. Okay.